So many of us live in fear and out of fear because our society isn't set up to take care of each other. And when we stop taking care of each other and we feel scared that our needs aren't going to be met, then fear creates a lot of shadows within us, and we give up, I think, with fear a lot. It's overwhelming, and I want to see people coming back to community and coming back to that support that happens when we stop living out of our fear and we stop living with this scarcity mindset. The media is always going to talk about scarcity. It's always going to use fear to motivate. Our whole entire society, government and media and our consumer culture, all of it is motivated by fear. And what happens when we're motivated by fear? What happens when we're motivated by fear is we lose ourselves and we lose our connection with everything, especially our connection with our truth. And if we let go of fear, we let go of a lot. But it has to be replaced with grace and love, and it has to be replaced with an understanding of how community works and how support works. How many of us have gone through an experience as a child or in a friendship or in a relationship where we did something wrong, or we did something that the other person didn't like, or we did something that someone didn't agree with, and they punished us? How many times when you are being punished have you felt love? Have you felt grace? It's pretty rare to have that combination, because punishment is something that makes us feel disconnected from ourselves. It makes us feel like we're worth being punished, and so we start to take on this deep, deep hatred of ourselves, because ultimately we feel like we're punishable, and that we're unworthy, and that we are inherently bad, inherently evil. And I think the more we punish each other and the more we use that tactic to create change, we're actually doing the opposite. We're actually pushing people further into their shame and further into their disassociation with themselves. And the more we disassociate from ourselves, the less human we become, and the more repressed we become, or the more reactive we become, or the more shame-filled and guilt-filled we become. And this doesn't create human beings that feel that energy that comes from really feeling in line with yourself and being able to learn lessons through love and grace. So I wanted to share a poem or a writing that I did when I had been called out by some people in a way that didn't feel good to me. And my intentions were always good with the things I was saying, and sometimes people didn't like it, or sometimes people decided it wasn't the way they thought I should be living my life, and they responded with a lot of judgment and a bit of punishment and a lack of grace. And I had to look at myself and see that I have also done this. And I think that was the hardest part about it, was that I realized I had punished people, I had judged people, I had sent people messages judging their lifestyle or making them feel guilty about what they were doing without thinking about the grace that people really desperately need to change. And so I wanted to share this writing with y'all in the hopes that it would start a conversation about how we approach each other, especially in times of volatility, especially in times where there can be misunderstandings and where we're all kind of working for the same thing but not sure how to do it, and not sure how to communicate when things are difficult. And some people just aren't in a space where they're ready to change, and having the ability to have grace for those people too, and let them go, and let go of the effect that they have on us. I think letting go of victimhood is a really important thing for all of us to consider. So I just wanted to explore this idea of grace. So I pressed the send button. My inner spirit dropped. There was no way to take it back. The words had been typed up in a fury. I hadn't waded through my emotional wave. I saw my superiority transform into insecurity within a moment. I sat in a thick state of regret, anxiously awaiting the moment they would read my words, feeling fear bubble up in my throat as I awaited their response, feeling my ego dissolve into something unrecognizable, like Lord Voldemort at the end of Harry Potter, a shriveled up shell. I realized in that moment that I didn't know the truth. All I knew was my own experience. What came out of me was my own insecurity. It was my own fear of the unknown. It was an overcompensation. I believed I had the answers because I thought I had to have the answers. This created a harsh judge inside of me. I believed I knew what was right and what was wrong. This created a harsh critic inside of me. I criticized and judged everything I ever thought. I whipped my own body, beat it, and made it a slave to these stories and beliefs. I lost my freedom. I lost trust in myself. I lost the wild nature of my spirit that rides on the waves of existence. This harshness with myself began spilling over into how I approached others. I felt the spirit of injustice push me over the edge. It became my job to call people out from the high horse I had erected in myself. The words of Jesus came to me in a flash of inspiration. As he was standing among religious leaders waiting to stone a woman who had committed adultery, he says, "He who is without sin among you, let them cast the first stone." One by one they dropped their stones. One by one we must drop our stones. It's all grace, it's all love. To believe that is to radically revolutionize how we treat ourselves, how we treat others, and how we treat the earth. When we have grace and love for ourselves, it will overflow from within, baptizing everyone and everything around us with glorious light. The more grace I gave myself, the more grace I gave others. The more grace others felt from me, the more grace they gave to themselves. This grace we give ourselves and others waters the seeds of love and light within us. It brings us into alignment with our truth. Disconnection from our truth breeds fear. Fear causes us to believe we are alone. It causes us to stop trusting people. It causes us to stop trusting our life. It causes us to stop trusting the universe. We give up, and when people give up or live out of fear, their shadows become them. They are engulfed by a shroud of expectations. They have forgotten themselves. Let me introduce you to yourself right now. Let go of fear so you can see yourself again. Let go of blame so you can see yourself again. Let go of criticism so you can see yourself again. Let go of expectations so you can see yourself again. Take a deep breath, releasing yourself from all bondage. Imagine yourself as light, only light. A light that shines into the darkest corners with power and strength. A light that is the wave frequency of love. Love yourself into being. Allow a rebirth to well up inside you, a transformation that brings you in alignment with your truth. Your truth isn't to embody pure love in your own unique form. Your truth is to be love, become love. Every day begin with meditation. Align yourself with this truth inside you. Allow it to well up within you so that it becomes a flood that elevates everything around you. Become an alchemist of peace, turning everything you touch into gold. This is what the universe/God has spoken to me. that you're not only going to be okay, you're going to thrive. You're going to thrive because that is your birthright. You are going to thrive because you are thirsty for it. If we continue trying to motivate ourselves and others through shame, guilt, punishment, and fear, then we will see more shame, guilt, punishment, and fear. If we motivate ourselves and others through grace, love, abundance, and light, we eradicate the root of evil, which is a deep hatred of ourselves. Hating ourselves is the only evil. Hating ourselves pours out into everything we touch. Grace is the most radical gift to bestow. It will bring unity. It's all grace, it's all love. If we stop living out of fear, it's all grace, it's all love. If we stop living out of fear.